could not have held this class in the right time. Though to some extent there is a late, still this is the right time we are going to begin this class. And I think all of you know whatever course is prescribed to you in this, whatever syllabus is there for you, MEG-5. I think some of you know it. And let me tell you, your first chapter, the chapter 1 is an introductory chapter. This is an introduction to literature, criticism, and theory. Okay, and the second chapter is the classical criticism. The third chapter is romantic criticism. The fourth is new criticism. Fifth one is Marxist view of literature. And the next one is feminist theory. And next one is deconstruction. And the last one is contemporary literary theory. So in this way, you have, I think, 8 to 9 chapters have been prescribed for you. And let us come to the first chapter. So before I begin, I think all of you know the very word criticism. So it has its origin from the Greek kritikos, which means to judge and or to evaluate or to give judgment. And as far as our ordinary knowledge is concerned, criticism means actually we take it very often that to find faults with somebody or some people or some in some social matters. But actually, as far as literary criticism is concerned, it is something different. And in course of time, we'll come to know what is what in literary criticism. And as far as this 21st century or the contemporary time is concerned, without the knowledge of criticism, I think one cannot be a good reader. One cannot be a good academician. One cannot appreciate a literary text properly. So that is why there is a need to know some rules, some theories, some principles of literary criticism, and it is very, very essential for a student. And now it is a part of academic discourse, right? As far as School of Language, School of Literature is concerned, it is a part of our academic discourse, and this is a must, this is a compulsory paper in Indian universities, also in the world, wherever higher studies is conducted in literature. So there must be this literary criticism papers. And now let us come to some of the important definitions given by different scholars. Now the first one is by this is actually a definition given by your Webster dictionary, and this is the dictionary says the art of judging or evaluation with knowledge and propriety the beauties and faults of works of art or literature. You know, what is written by any poet or writer, by an author, by maybe poetry, maybe fiction, maybe a story, or maybe any piece of work of art. So that is very often actually when it is read, it is appreciated, and sometimes what happens, sometimes sometimes the author or the writer, the creator is highlighted, sometimes he is very well appreciated, and sometimes also faults, whatever artistic faults are there, also he is criticized. So he is also sometimes targeted. So anyway, so Webster's New International Dictionary defines it the art of judging or evaluation with knowledge and propriety the beauties and faults of works of art or literature. So any piece of works of art, when it is evaluated, when it is appreciated, when it is judged, sometimes the author is highlighted, sometimes also some faults are found out, and sometimes he is also targeted. Then the next, simply the dictionary of world literature. Here is a definition. The definition goes like this. Conscious evaluation or appreciation of a work of art, either according to the critic's personal taste or according to some occupied aesthetic ideas. Aesthetic ideas means to appreciate beauty, to appreciate truth that is there in a work of art. Altogether a work of art is a piece of art, and whatever artistic quality is there, it is appreciated, right? Conscious evaluation, knowing it very well that there is some beauty, there is some truth, or appreciation of a work of art, either according to the critic's personal taste or according to some occupied aesthetic ideas. Occupied aesthetic ideas means the critic who is appreciating the text, who is judging the text, who is evaluating the text, he has a set of principles in his mind, and accordingly he finds the the right text, artistic text that is there in the text by the sense of artistic beauty and artistic truth, which is also known as aesthetic ideas, right? And also uh, now when we come to one of the great critics, uh, Victorian critic, all of you know, he is Matthew Arnold, who says, while defining poetry, while defining culture, in one of his seminal essays, critical essays, that is Culture and Anarchy, where he says, the best that has been thought written in the best possible manner. That means a piece of work, which a piece of art with the color of artistic beauty and artistic truth. So whatever artistic beauty, artistic truth is presented in a work of art, and it is the duty of the critic to know the best that has been there in the work of art. Anybody who has thought and who has written in the best possible manner, this is the this is the duty of a critic, to find that artistic truth and artistic beauty, to find the best quality that is present in a piece of work, particularly work of art. So in this way, we have so many definitions of literary criticism, and in ordinary language, in, a, in an ordinary sense, we can say uh, to to apply the knowledge of literary criticism means to evaluate a piece of work of art. To evaluate maybe a work of art written in words, or a piece of artistic work that is created by any artist. So to evaluate it, to judge it, and to try to find the essence of this piece of art, to try to find what is the best quality that a work of art presents. So that is an ordinary sense what um, literary criticism means. To T.S. Eliot, one of the modern critics, poet and critics, he says in one of his essays, he says, commendation and exposition of works of art by means of written works. He adds that the end of criticism is the elucidation of works of art and the correction of taste. So this is one of the beautiful definitions given by T.S. Eliot, who says commentation and exposition of works of art by means of written works. That means when a critic evaluates a piece of work of art, or a classic, or a novel, or drama, or poetry. So actually, what does he do? He records whatever artistic quality is there in the text. He records it in the form of words, written words. In ordinary sense, what does the critic do? Actually, he records his views, the points of view in written words. Again, he adds that the end of criticism is the elucidation of work of art. Elucidation means analysis of a work of art, and correction of taste. EAST. Correction of taste means actually by giving it views on a work of art, while appreciating a work of art, he at the same time corrects the taste. taste of the reader. That means he brings new light on that particular test, and accordingly, whatever views or prejudices that the reader possesses in his mind, actually he corrects the test, and accordingly, a critic gives the right test to the readers. So these are some of the definitions of literary criticism, and nowadays literary criticism plays a vital role while interpreting a text, while evaluating a text, and while also commenting on a text from various points of view, from various by applying various schools of knowledge, by applying various theories, and we'll go to the theory very shortly. And before I go to the theory, and before I discuss something on what is the difference between theory and literary criticism, let me give some of the functions. Let me discuss some of the functions of literary criticism. Actually, what does the literary critic do? He gives law as far as classical critics are concerned. As far as classical criticism is concerned, actually, the critic is supposed to give laws, starting from Plato to Aristotle um, to other to Horace and to Longinus and many other, maybe Dryden or Pope. They are also critics or Johnson. Actually, very often, actually, they give laws, prescribe laws. Particularly Aristotle's poetics, it is filled with laws, descriptions, how literature should be written, how tragedy should be written, what are the features of a tragedy, what are the features of a classical poetry, how and from which point of view the writer or the creator must compose a poem or any piece of work of art. So they are actually law givers. Uh, they also give training in classical form. They also impart a kind of in the classical times they were prescribing rules. At the same time they were also training the writers, right? um, then also what they were doing, they were actually analyzing, they were giving prescriptions how to analyze a text, how to appreciate a text, and they were also educating the masses. Accordingly, they were also they were providing enlightenment to the masses or to the readers for the development of for development and nourishment of culture. Right. As Matthew Arnold again, I quote what he says in one of his beautiful lines. In one of his beautiful lines, he says, "Learn and propagate the best that is that has ever thought and propagated in the world." So, what a literary critic does, he learns in course of time. He learns the best that has been thought and propagated in the world. Uh, then actually now. Uh, as far as criticism is concerned, as far as the literary critics are concerned, actually, as far as there are, it is a form of art and craft. What does the literary critic do? Actually, he has a wide range of knowledge. He has a very in-depth knowledge in different branches of uh, knowledge, in different matters, in different theories, in different from different. He also he's a master of art. He's also a master of skill, and he knows what is what in a piece of work of art or in a literary text. And accordingly, actually, what does he do? His main object is to see the object as in itself and to make the best ideas prevail in the world from which the uh, writers may derive inspiration to create high quality of work. Actually, while appreciating a piece of work, literary critics they prescribe some sets of rules at the same time. While appreciating text, but while appreciating the work of art, actually they do what? They they give the right direction to the readers, to the mass, and thereby actually they help in the propagation of what? In the propagation and also in the development of a culture or in the development of the collective consciousness or universal consciousness of the masses. So in this way, we find the role of a critic in any society, in any point of time, maybe in the ancient time or in the modern time or in the post-modern time, or times to come in future. Actually, they have a greater role to play, and accordingly, they will show the path how the work of art should be appreciated from which context, from which angle a reader should apply so that he can understand the best that is there in the work of art. Um, now you come to the types of criticism. We have different types of criticism, and let me tell you, um, there is a concept, and this concept is given by this concept is given by uh, this is a code of communication, and this concept is given by Roman Jacobson. Right, so Roman Jacobson is one of the modern day critics, and who has designed this communication chain. This is known as the communication chain. See, there is no blackboard. If I would be teaching in critical classroom, I would show you in the diagram how actually meaning emerges through this communication chain. Actually, he gives author three important things are here. He describes three important things as far as the literary texts are concerned. There is an author, um, basic thing, that there is an author. There is a text. Text means the book which is written by an author. Then there is a reader. And the purpose of the author is to reach at the reader. And how does an author reach at a reader? Through the text. A text means actually a code. A text consists of language, and language is a code. Okay. Or there is also a message. A text is also a message. And as far as the three important factors are concerned, one is at one side, there is an author who is at the from the very beginning. He wants to give a message, and also he belongs to a society. He belongs to a culture. He belongs to a time. Right? Any author belongs to a particular time. That is why in literature there is a beautiful line. Every work of art is produced uh, in a time. Actually, three factors influence in the writing of a text. One is your man, moment, and milieu. Three important factors are responsible for the production of the work of art. One is man, who is writing, actually who is the author, moment, time, and milieu means the culture. Well, these three things actually they combine a beautiful work of art is created. The man must be very creative of the creator. Moment, actually the time must be conducive. The time must have an effect on the author, and accordingly he writes as per the demand of the time, man, moment, and milieu actually also the author belongs to a culture, and this culture also very often compels the author to write some text or some books or some creative work as per the demand of the culture, or to propagate the culture, or to uh, develop the culture. So accordingly, author is one side, and the other side there is a reader, and in between these two there is a text to which communication goes on. So this is Roman Jacobson's communication chain, which is also there in your in the MEG-5, the first part, that is Introduction to Literary Criticism and Theory. So this is mentioned. So I have copied it from that IGNO material, where actually we will find, if you analyze this communication chain, author, text, reader, you will find varieties of critical approaches, critical canons. If you analyze the author, if you give importance to author or the writer or the creator, and since he belongs to a time, belongs to a culture, belongs to a society, you will find actually different types of criticism or critical theory. one theory may be biographical criticism, another may be historical criticism, another may be traditional criticism, or classical criticism, whatever it may be. So biographical, historical, this type of criticism is based on the author. Author belongs to which time, author belongs to which culture, author belongs to which society, what is the um, social milieu or social situation, scenario on which uh, the author belongs, and accordingly he gives or he writes for a different type of text, and accordingly he gives message to the reader in the society. If you give importance to reader, we have reader response theory. Okay, and here actually one of the one of the postmodern critics, Michael Foucault, who says that is the uh, birth of the reader when there is the death of the writer or death of the author. That is the death of author. When author dies, reader is born. That means depending uh, on the reader's perspective, depending on the reader's viewpoint, depending on the approach of the reader, attitude of the reader, knowledge of the reader, his intellectual ability, actually he actually creates text. Meaning doesn't lie in the author. Meaning doesn't lie in the text. Meaning is created by the reader. This is a new theory. This is reader response theory, and accordingly, from the context of the reader, we can have this new type of criticism. We can have also Marxism. The reader is a Marxist. Marxist, I think you know the theory given by Karl Marx, Lenin, and others, right? And accordingly, if you are a Marxist, if you are a leftist, you will find the social context. You will find how the social structure is responsible for the creation of a text. You can have all, if you are a feminist, from feminist point of view, you will also value the, you will also judge, you will also evaluate the text, you will interpret the text from your feministic point of view. Right, so different types of criticism will emerge if you give importance to reader. And if you come to the text, text is a code as I have mentioned, it is a sign, right? And if you analyze this, you can have structuralism, where knowledge is a code, sorry, your language is a code, and code or a sign. And if you analyze this, you will find structural critics and post-structural critics, deconstruction and others. Actually, they give importance to language. They give importance to structure, sign, and accordingly they interpret the text from that point of view. We will discuss it one by one in our subsequent classes. Now come to another important fact, which is criticism and theory. I think all of you are very well aware of the fact that criticism comes first or theory comes first. I think all of you will agree to me, to my proposal or to my point that criticism is first and then comes theory. Uh, Not that theory was not there. Every critic or every first of all, actually, from the classical times to the modern times or post-modern times, every writer is also a critic. Minutely, if you see in a very different way, in a different light, that whenever a writer writes, whenever a poet writes, first he reads. First, the writer reads his text and he is also a critic of his own. Then actually reader comes, right? So very often there is a debate whether criticism is first or creation is first, whether egg is first or whether chicken is first, right? Whether seed is first or your plant is first. So actually there is a debate, but as far as our common sense is concerned, criticism comes later on when a text is produced. First is your creation. Creation means first is your work of art, right? And when a work of art is created, Actually, it comes to the reader, and reader is now the authority to interpret the text from his own point of view. Right. So criticism is secondary, creation is primary. Very often also some say that actually criticism and creation actually they go side by side. If criticism would not be there, then actually excellent creations cannot be possible. Right. There cannot be improvement of the text. That actually writers or authors or poets, they cannot write good text. They cannot write quality work of art if criticism will not be there. So because of criticism, actually what is excellent in literature, um, what is the theme of literature, what is the best in a piece of literature, actually it comes to the light, it comes to our common domain through criticism. Great critics actually they find great value in the work of art, and accordingly this knowledge is propagated. That means the work of art is actually analyzed, and accordingly the best what is there in the text, it comes to our knowledge, and accordingly very often also the writers they learn a lot from the criticism by the critics, and accordingly they are inspired, they are motivated, and they are encouraged to create good kind of text. So both criticism and text go side by side, and very often we find in the history of literature, great writers are also very often great critics. For example, Dryden is a critic, is a actually writer and critic. Okay, Pope is also a writer and critic. Sir Philip Sidney, who is also very often considered the first critic of English literature, right? English criticism. So he was a sonnet writer, he was a poet, and also he was a critic. Then Johnson was a writer and also a critic. Dryden was a writer and critic. When we come to Wordsworth, you have your romantic criticism, refers to lyrical ballads, right? He prescribes what is good, what is bad in literature, and he gives his own theory, his own theory of poetry, and whatever he gives his own theory of poetry, he also practices it. Similarly, Matthew Arnold, whatever theory he has, he also practices it. When it comes to T.S. Eliot in the modern time, he is a poet as well as a critic. So he is a poet, dramatist, and critic. So great writers are also very often they are writers as well as critics, and accordingly, actually, what is best we can find in them through their uh, creative art as well as critical writings. So these are some of the important facts as far as uh, criticism and theory is concerned. Both are responsible for the enjoyment of literature, right? For the evaluation of text, and Peter Barry is a great name as far as English criticism is concerned. Peter Barry is also a professor, academic professor, and he writes. He has a great book of literary criticism, and this book is a theory before theory or beginning theory, where he stresses that uh, the question is, actually, while answering the question whether there was a theory in the beginning or not. Actually, in uh, the mid 20th century, after 1960, we find a number of theory coming forward. There is an explosion of theory. Why there is an explosion of theory? Because there is an explosion of knowledge. You see, if you analyze all branches of knowledge, you see, uh, Karl Marx comes, he gives his theory of Marxism, right? And Sigmund Freud comes, right? John comes, he gives, they give their theory of dream, theory of subconscious mind, and many other things. Right. There is also scientific theory. Very often they are also responsible. There are cultural studies. There are also um, other studies, and accordingly, anthropological studies, right? Sociological studies, depending on uh, various studies depending on various branches of knowledge. Actually, different types of approaches have been theorized, and accordingly, we find a number of theories in the 20th century as well as in this 21st century. We find new theories are coming in every time, and in course of time, many theories are coming forward, and accordingly, literary critics, literary scholars, and students of literature, they adopt these theories while interpreting a text, and new lights are emerging day by day when we analyze a work of art. That means applying psychoanalytic criticism. Hamlet can be analyzed in a different way. What is there in his subconscious mind? Applying cultural studies, we can also analyze today's any text, any poetry, or any work of art produced by any writer. We can analyze by applying different approaches or canons as far as literary theory is concerned. So the point is, because of the diffusion of knowledge, because of the explosion of knowledge, many theories are bound to come, and we have to accept it. And also, in fact, it helps a lot to a literary scholar to interpret literature on the basis of new lights and new facts, right? So, whatever Peter Barry says in his book, Beginning Theory, that there were actually there were critics, there were also writers, and there was a theory before actually this theory comes. Today's theory, or in the modern theory, actually what is the canons of the prescriptions, whatever literary prescriptions have been given, whatever theory is given, that means the knowledge, it has been systematized. In a systematic approach, a text is evaluated. That means when different, that means when a particular study actually is formed, comes in the form of a theory, a particular branch of knowledge, a particular bunch of principles. They combine in a systematic way and it becomes a theory. But before this theory, there were also theory, and Peter Barry considers that this theory is nothing but liberal humanity. And accordingly, he gives 10 principles or 10 tenets of liberal humanism. And we will discuss some of the tenets of liberal humanism. And what we find here, if we analyze these 10 tenets of liberal humanism, at least we will come to know what is what in a literature, in a piece of work of art, and what is what in a literary theory or in literary criticism. So before we start, again also Peter Barry discusses, actually he traces English education, and this year which I am going to tell you, there are three time mark he gives: 1826, 1828, 1829, and 1840. These four actually years are very important as far as English studies are concerned, English language is concerned, and English education is concerned. In 1826, first time actually, a college was opened in England, and this college was meant for the public, irrespective of caste, creed, religion, and gender. 1826 is the year for the first time a college was opened for the public. Previously, actually, only a theological study was going on in England, right? Only Christian or biblical study was there, and Christian actually missionary. Actually, they were um, the fathers. They were conducting all these actually scholarly activities, and the focus was for the propagation of Christianity. In 1826, this actually restriction, this orthodoxy was broken, and this college was open to the public, irrespective of caste, class, creed, religion, and gender. In 1828, English language became the subject of study. In 1828, actually, these facts have been taken from this Peter Barry's book, Beginning Theory. In 1828, English language became a subject of study. In 1829, a first professor was appointed, and again, actually, this professor was meant for studying language, not literature. In 1840, for the first time, a professor of English was appointed in King's College, right? And his name is, please try to remember this name. His name is F.D. Morris. F.D. Morris, M-O-R-R-I-S. F.D. Morris is the first professor of English, and whatever he says when he becomes professor of English, and he gives his opinion. In his opening mark, he says that English study or study of English literature would serve to emancipate us from the notions and habits which are peculiar to our own age. That means how he gives importance to English literature, how he gives importance to literary studies, and what importance is there. He says that it would emancipate us from our old habits, from our old orthodoxy, and from our old peculiarity of the age. That means English study, particularly English literature, study of English literature will emancipate people from their old habits, will emancipate people to have a new approach of life, to have a new acceptance of life, to have a new horizons in life. That means it is a kind of new discovery of the self of the individual or society. It will act in the reconstruction of the mankind, in the reconstruction of a society or culture. So you see how much importance he gives when he says this statement. And this is recorded by Peter Berry in his book, Beginning Theory. And accordingly, we find 10 tenets, as I told, 10 tenets of liberal humanism, which is mentioned also in your IGNOU course. MEG-5, first part of IGNOU material, which is also mentioned some of the tenets. The first tenet is good literature is timeless. Peter Berry says that this is the first tenet. Actually, while actually giving importance to the old uh, theories, though not the systematic theory, the old prescriptions, the old rules that have been framed by the authors, writers, the critics throughout history of English, till actually in modern time, 20th century, when actually theories are coming. So he says that there was a common sense, there was a universal sense. All critics, poets, writers, literature, even the readers, they knew that there were certain principles of literary production, principles of creation, okay, and principles also principles of criticizing a text. So both in the field of literary criticism and creation, there were certain rules or there were certain principles which guided the writers, authors to produce a good quality of text. And this is first point. He says that good literature is timeless, is of timeless significance. That means good literature is eternal. It is not confined to a particular time. It transcends time. It transcends age. And as Ijra Pound, one of the modern poets, who says, only news is news. News always stays as news, right? But good literature is of permanent significance. It is of timeless significance. It transcends time, and it transcends also age. It is meant for all ages. As another critic, Dr. Johnson, who says, while actually he has written an essay, Preface to Shakespeare, I think all of you know it. He has written an essay, a critical essay, Preface to Shakespeare, where he says, Shakespeare stands for all ages. Shakespeare is not meant for Elizabethan age or Renaissance. Shakespeare stands for all ages. That means whatever Shakespeare writes, whatever texts, whatever plays, whatever sonnets he has produced, it is not meant for one age. That is, it is not meant for the Elizabethan people. It is beyond Elizabethan age. That means Shakespeare stands for all age. Even today in Indian universities, even in colleges, even in schools, Actually, his texts, students read his text and accordingly they derive artistic joy, artistic pleasure. So, good literature is timeless. Next point is meaning of a text is written, is within. Meaning of a text is within the text itself. There is no need to put the text in the context of socio-political, autobiographical, or literary, historical, etc. That means the meaning, this is also again emphasized by the new critics, that there is a kind of criticism, formalistic criticism, you know, where actually close reading of the text has been given prime importance. Close reading of the text. Uh, Close reading of the text means the text itself is the sole mirror through which actually we can see the reflection of life. We can see what does an author want to tell us, right? Whatever message we can find within the text, if we go beyond the text, actually we very often misinterpret the text. So this is known as close reading of the text. As T.S. Eliot in one of his essays, in one of his critical essays, Tradition and Individual Talent, it is also there in your course when we discuss new criticism, we'll discuss it. There he says, honest criticism and sensitive appreciation of poetry. This is the quote I give. I remember this line: honest criticism and sensitive appreciation of poetry is not based upon the poetry. It is based upon, it is not based upon the poet, it is based upon the poetry. Honest criticism and sensitive appreciation of poetry is not based upon the poet. It is based upon the poetry. That means the poetry, the work of art, is the only matter on which you can comment what is there, what worth does it carry, or what quality does it carry. If you start on interpreting the author, interpreting the writer, whether the writer is belongs to a Christian or a Hindu, whether he is a Dalit or tribal, whether he is a man or woman, right? Whether he's an African or Indian. So if you go on interpreting in this way, you will fail to find the quality, the artistic quality that the text contains. So that is the fault very often critics commit. That is why the second point he says the meaning of the text lies within itself. Right. Another important point is to understand a text. It must be detached from all contexts and must be stated in isolation. The same thing actually is repeated. Number two and number three, almost they are the same. To understand a text, it must be detached from all contexts, maybe social, maybe cultural, maybe political, whatever it may be. Number four is human nature is unchanging. Very often a question is asked. In my class, honors class, my teacher one, and they asked, actually while he was interpreting the character of Macbeth, he put a question. The question is, if Macbeth would be allowed, given another chance, would he commit the same mistake or not? Actually, we said, no, he will have a different approach in life and he will not commit the same mistake. He said, the answer is wrong. Because human nature is human nature is unchanging. Throughout ages, throughout centuries, human nature is unchanging. The same mistake that is why in history it is said, history repeats itself. That means blunders have been repeated by human beings time and again. And man cannot be free from blunders. That is why the great teachings of Mahabharata says that even great people commit mistake and thereby they set example for others. Great people commit. Yudhishthira is the great man of truth. He committed mistake. Even he gave his wife in mortgage. Right? So this is the mistake that every great man commits. So human nature is unchanging. That means the same emotion, the same passion prevails in the psychology of man, in the behavior of man. The same emotion, the same kind of uh, emotion means uh, the nature of man actually carries same kind of emotion. That means to appreciate uh, what is duty, what is true, and also in certain situations to react accordingly, to have a criminal kind of attitude, to have a very different, maybe uh, sexual attitude. So thereby actually what happens, they commit mistake, and thereby actually they set examples for others. So literature is actually the bundle of all sorts of experience taking together. When a writer writes a good text, actually he takes all these experiences into account, all these universal phenomenon into account, and accordingly he produces good quality of literature. And the next point is individuality is something secured by actually it is individuality is something that is secured by uh, that is secured and possessed within each of us. Individuality is possessed within each of us. We, the individuals, whatever qualities we have secured it within ourselves, and accordingly, depending on the situation, we reflect such kind of emotion, we reflect such kind of behavior, and accordingly, very often we are improved, very often also we invite a fall. Then the next point is purpose of literature is eventually the enhancement of life. Purpose of literature is the enhancement of life. Okay, and propagate human values. The purpose of literature, what is the purpose of literature? To enhance life, that means to improve life, and uh, for the enhancement of life, and for propagation of human values. So whatever human values are there, it is also imparted through literature. That is why literature is a compulsory subject. Up to matriculation, even in 10 plus 2, class 12, even in graduation classes, even I think in some colleges, some universities, even in PG classes, actually literature is prescribed as a compulsory subject. What is the purpose? The purpose that literature carries what human sensibilities, the sense of sympathy, the sense of what fellow feeling, the sense of justice, the sense of morality, whatever, the great virtue, of human virtue or human values that it carries. It is prescribed in schools and colleges and in university curriculum, because actually these are essential and everybody should know. Even in, I think all of you know that in IIT, even in IIT campus, in IIT classes, actually humanity as a subject has been introduced. They are not only reading, studying literature, at the same time they are also reading some of the theories, critical theories, some of the philosophical theories, some of the religious discourses. So everything is prescribed for them, because actually these are providing human face while developmental activities they will carry on in future after the appointment as an engineer or as a professional. They must know the human face of development. Otherwise, they will forget humanity. They will bring suffering to humanity in the name of development. That is why this is a must which literature carries or teaches. Next, form and content must be fused. This is a very difficult part. I think if you cannot understand, you will ask me in my subsequent classes. This is a very difficult. Why? Actually, who is writing, he knows. There is a form and there is a content. Every literary text carries a form, that means a particular language it is written, there is a design of the language, okay, there is a texture of the language, construction of language, and there is also a content, means theme. There is a theme, there is a language. If you appreciate the both, you can enjoy literature, otherwise you will fail to enjoy literature. And a great writer or a great poet or a great artist, actually he combines it in an organic way. Organic way means, as in any organic compound or any compound, For example, water contains hydrogen and oxygen. You cannot separate it from hydrogen and oxygen. Of course, electrolysis will be conducted, so that is separate thing. But ordinarily, in a compound, you cannot segregate the elements. In the same way, a great artist, when he creates art, the form, the language, and the theme which he combines, you cannot detach one from the other. That is, it is an organic whole. It is an organic whole. That means the body. If the face of a girl is beautiful, if you detach it, that means, so can you think that the whole body will be beautiful without face, or without smile, or without the hairstyle, whatever? That means it is an organic whole. You cannot detach anything from the other. So if you are detaching, you are committing mistake. So form and content must be fused as an organic unit, so that a beautiful creation can be possible. Uh, the the above organic form, another this is point number 8, where actually this is an extension of point number 7. So what does it state? The above organic form can be achieved through sincerity, not by no, sincerity, through sincerity of the writer. Through sincerity of the writer, this actually this artistic quality is achieved. Not this is not something. This is not something that an author gets it from his previous generation, or gets it by birth, but it is actually practiced. It is acquired through his hard work, and that is through his sincerity. That is why in tradition, individual talent, actually, Eliot gives emphasis on tradition. That means you learn it from tradition, at the same time you also acquire it through your skill, through your hard work. That means a great artist cannot be born. A great artist is created by his hard work, by his practice, by his skill. So it is a matter of endeavor. It is a matter of endeavor, not it is a matter of just acquiring the quality. So in this way, we get, and the last point number 9 is, what is valued in literature is the silent showing and demonstrating something rather than saying it or explaining it. This is a very important point. And thereby, actually, this point differentiates between literature and philosophy. In philosophy, in history, actually, it is everything is said. Everything is said. What is good, what is bad, what is what. Everything is said through statements, right? Through statements, it is stated. But in literature, nothing is stated or said, right? That is why creation of character, creation of plot, creation of language, dialogues, okay. And as far as poetry is concerned, giving importance to symbols, myths, right? Giving importance to imagery. So there are many types of literary devices or poetic devices have been employed to form a beautiful work of art. Ordinarily, you cannot say anything. You cannot say anything. Remember one thing, actually, directly, nothing is told directly in literature. It finds a medium. It finds a medium, and this medium is known as art. What is art? Art means a fine medium to say something in the best possible way. So that is literature. Particularly through characterization, in film, what is happening? In film, terrorism is bad. Actually, if you say the statement, it is over. But for it, actually, characters will be created, plots will be created. So different actually approaches will be adopted to say it that terrorism is bad, stealing is bad, killing is bad. So you cannot say anything directly. In religion, it is said. Stealing is a sin, or killing is a sin. It is said in religion, in philosophy, but in literature, uh, actually what will happen? A fine medium will be required. And number 10 point, the last point is the job of criticism is to the job of criticism is to interpret texts, to mediate between the reader and the text. What does a critic? What role does a critic play? A critic play a intermediary role. That means he is the mediator between the author and the reader. But message is there in the text. Actually, he tries to analyze it, interpret it, go actually he tries to go very deep into it, and accordingly he presents the facts or the qualities whatever a text has to the reader. That means he acts as a mediator between the author and the writer. So these are different uh, 10 tenets as Peter Barry illustrates. It is a theory before theory book, and accordingly we find different types of criticisms, literary theories. First of all is Marxist theory. Marxist theory, already will also be taught in your subsequent classes. Post-colonial theory, right? Structuralism, post-structuralism, deconstruction, psychoanalytical criticism, queer theory, and many other different types of uh, theories will be taught in your subsequent classes. I think if the time is over, we'll conclude here. Otherwise, I have already a lot of other points to discuss, which I could not do because of the paucity of time. Any question to me? Let us take one or two questions. Otherwise, we'll conclude the class. Any question to me? I think 29 people they have 29 learners who have joined. Any question to me? Hello, any question? Yeah, okay, anybody from MEG-16? That is folk literature. Is anybody? Hello, is anybody present from who has taken folk literature as one's optional? Anybody?
No,
I have
sir.
got no. I have got that paper, and I will be taking this class tomorrow. If anybody is present, will join. Otherwise, any question to me on whatever we discussed, some of the basics of literary criticism and theory. Any question to me, or will conclude?
Okay.
No. Okay. Thank you for joining, and I hope in the subsequent classes we'll be discussing a lot, and I hope you will go through your material, whatever material is there. It's a beautiful material is prepared for you, and also whatever other books. Let me tell you some books. If you can note some of the books. Peter Barry, I have already mentioned Peter Barry book, Theory Before Theory or Beginning Theory. And M.H. Abraham's book, I think all of you possess it. That is literary terms, glossary of literary terms, modern edition or present edition is very essential because many things have been added. Again, Terry Eggleton's book, Literary Theory and Introduction. Okay, Jonathan Fuller, Literary Theory, a very short introduction. Hans Berlein's Literary Theory, the basics. Okay, and Stephen Lin, Text and Context. Right. Another book which I have already produced in this book is Patricia and O, Literary Theory and Criticism. Patricia and O is a very good book. Okay. Or simply you should have your M.H. Abraham or your IGNO material, which is also very essential for it, right? So with this, let me again once again thank you, and with this, let us conclude this class. Wishing all the best in the next class. Okay, hope many students will join in the next class because very shortly we have arranged the class, and accordingly I think a message has not been reached to sufficient number of students. Professor Dalai,
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
okay,
Anyhow, we completed the first class for the series of classes that is going to be held in our study center. And not 27, it's around 35, sir. 35 students have joined.
okay,
Now some of them have left. And I hope that the number will increase in the coming days
yes,
as we started in a very short period of time. We are ready to go for the next class. Sir, thank you very much for your class. And
welcome.
you have your next class uh,
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Nine,
in the
nine,
morning.
nine.
So those who
Yes.
have MEG 16, they can join and also inform the students, those who have opted for MEG 16 but not present today, um, as MEG 5 is a compulsory paper. So all must have joined here, and those who have not got informed about these classes, please inform them that they should join, and they should get the knowledge for the preparation of examinations. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, sir.